네, 안녕하세요. 저는 서울 이더리움 미더 이제 11회부터 코 오거나이저를 맡게 된 이준희라고 합니다. 반갑습니다. 지금 저희가 원래 7시부터 행사가 진행이 돼야 되는데 이제 늘 그렇듯이 좀 늦으시는 분들의 연락이 좀 많이 오기도 하고, 지금 인프라에 마이클 씨가 지금 호텔에서 오고 있는데 얘가 좀 차가 지금 많이 막혀서 한 10분 정도 좀 더 걸릴 것 같다라고 지금 얘기가 와서 저희가 좀 양해를 구하고 조금만 시간을 늦춰서 진행을 하고, 나중에 쉬는 시간이나 이런 부분들을 조금씩 줄여서 저희가 진행을 해야 될 것 같아서 미리 좀 양해를 드리겠습니다. 죄송합니다. 그러니까 지금 기다리시는 동안 조금 지루하실 것 같아서 이제 필요하신 분은 쉬면서 들으셔도 되고, 이제 저희가 오늘 팀 발표를 하게 되는 팀들에 대해서 그냥 간단하게 좀 설명을 드릴게요. 첫 번째 이제 인퓨라 같은 경우는 이제 이더리움 체인 내에서 이더리움 내에서 이제 컨센시스라고 하는 이제 업체 내에서 가장 좀 핵심이 되는 인프라를 갖고 있는 팀이에요. 뭘 제공하냐는 부분은 이제 좀 이따 구체적으로 들으시겠지만 간단하게 말씀을 드리면, 이제 개발자들이 툴 같은 거나 또 본인들이 DApp을 만들려고 할 때 거기에 필요한 서버나 저장소 같은 것들을 자기가 직접 보유하지 않고도 이용할 수 있게끔 일종의 말하면 서비스로서의 플랫폼이라고 말하는 파스 정도의 역할을 좀 하고 있다라고 생각을 하시면 될 것 같거든요. 정확히 맞진 않지만 그렇게 보시면 되고, 오늘 오시는 분은 이제 거기에 CEO를 맡고 계신 분이고 코파운더를 맡고 계시고 지금 컨센시스 내에서도 핵심 개발진으로 포함이 되어 있으세요. 그래서 오늘 오시면은 저희가 단순히 인퓨라에 대해서만 듣는 게 아니라 컨센시스라는 어떻게 보면 개발진으로 거의 구성이 된 개발진 풀이라고 볼 수도 있을 정도로 굉장히 큰 다양한 것들을 만들어내고 있는 업체인데, 거기에 시스템이 어떻게 돌아가고 있는지, 도대체 어떻게 해야 그 개발자 풀을 운영할 수 있고, 뭐 돈은 어느 정도가 들어가는 것이고 어떤 식으로 그 파트가 나눠져서 흘러가는지 그런 부분에 대한 이야기까지 다 들려주실 수 있어서, 그런 부분 개발진 분들은 앞으로 컨센시스랑 연락할 수도 있는 컨택이 될 수도 있고, 지금 컨센시스가 퍼져 있는 걸 보면 그래도 IT 강국이라고 하는 데는 다 퍼져 있는데 유일하게 한국에 아무런 표시가 없어요. 한국에는 컨센시스가 영향을 미치고 있는 부분이 아무것도 없거든요. 그래서 오늘 이제 개발하시는 분들은 네트워크를 통해서 컨센시스랑 좀 연결할 수 있는 부분이 있을 것 같아요. 그리고 그 다음 말씀을 드리고, 그 다음 두 번째 이제 벤코르라고 하는 이제 곧 ICO를 앞두고 있고 좀 트레이더나 개발자 사이에서도 굉장히 지금 이슈가 좀 되고 있는 팀인데, 지금 이 팀 같은 경우는 좀 바빠서 저희가 스카이프를 통해서만 좀 만날 수 있을 것 같고요. 간단하게 여기가 뭘 하는 거냐고 좀 말씀을 드리면, 얘네는 자기네를 이제 벤코르 프로토콜이라는 걸 간단하게 스마트 토큰을 제공한다라고 얘기를 해요. 스마트 토큰을 제공하는 게 뭐냐라고 말씀을 드리면, 기술적 지식이 부족한 누구라도 쉽게 토큰을 생성해내고 그걸 가지고 이제 이더나 또 다른 토큰이랑 교환할 수 있도록 많이 만들어 주겠다는 거거든요. 그래서 가장 쉽게 토큰을 만들 수 있는 자기네 툴을 제공하고자 하고 그것도 교환까지도 쉽게 일어나게 할 수 있겠다라는 게 본인들 목표고 그러다 보니까 가치 고정화 토큰이라고 하는 뭐 테더나 나중에 KRW가 될 수도 있는 거고 가치 고정화 토큰을 만들거나 아니면은 이제 소규모 커뮤니티에 자신들이 토큰을 발행해서 어떤 기여한 사람들에 대한 경제적 이익을 주고 싶다라고 할 때 그런 소규모 커뮤니티에서도 만들 수 있고 소규모 경제권을 만들어서 그 안에서 자기들끼리만 쓸 수 있게 굉장히 쉽게 만들 수 있다라는 것들을 이제 제공하려고 하는 게 뱅코르 프로토콜이에요. 그래서 지금 ICO에서도 굉장히 이슈가 되고 있고 그러다 보니까 얘네는 제일 중요한 게 자기네 거를 많이 퍼뜨려야 되는 부분이 좀 중요해요. 자기네 이제 시스템을 많이 쓰는 사람이 있을수록 더 많은 교환이 가능해지고 더 많은 소규모 경제가 이루어질 수 있으니까 그러다 보니까 스테이터스나 뭐 지금 약간 소문 안 좋게 된 토큰 카드나 그리고 뭐 퀸이라고 하는 다양한 플랫폼 업체들이랑 연결을 많이 짓고 있어요. 최대한 많이 퍼뜨리게 하기 위해서. 그래서 이제 ICO나 오늘 발표하시는 거에 대해서 좀 주의 깊게 들어보시면 좋을 것 같고 그리고 오늘 이제 프루프 팀에서 왔는데 프루프 팀 같은 경우는 이번에 두바이 블록체인 컨퍼런스 두바이에서 최근에 챌린지라고 두바이 블록체인 챌린지라는 게 열렸어요. 네. 두바이 같은 경우는 2020년까지 블록체인을 이용해서 정부 문서를 다 교체를 하겠다는 목표를 갖고 있고 블록체인 도시에 대해서 가장 경제적으로 큰 투자를 하고 있는 이제 도시 중에 하나라고 보시면 되는데 이제 거기에서 챌린지를 나갔는데 아쉽게 뭐 수상은 못했지만 이제 거기에 한국 팀이 참가했다는 이제 소식을 보고 거기에 또 지부가 아니라 이제 본부가 한국에 있어서 거기에 타이라고 하는 CTO랑 얘기가 돼서 얘기를 하다가 이제 보다 보니까 이더리움만 꼭 이용하는 건 아니지만 이제 이더리움 스마트 컨트랙을 이용해서 자산과 이제 실제 물건 같은 경우의 거래를 블록체인 위에서 쉽게 할 수 있도록 자기네가 또 다른 프루프라는 걸 만들었다라는 이야기거든요. 그래서 지금 첫 번째로 목표로 내세운 게 부동산 계약에 대한 솔루션을 제공하고 있는데 사실 법적 문제가 너무 많이 껴져 있는 문제라서 사실 쉽지는 않은데 일단 되게 노력을 하고 있는 팀이 좀 고생을 많이 하는 게 보이긴 해요. 그래서 그리고 이 팀은 그래도 꼭 한국인으로만 이루어져 있지 않고 사실 대다수가 외국인 개발진들에 좀 의존을 하고 있어요. 그래서 한국에서 스타트업을 하고 싶으신 분인데 사실 본인 직장에서 받는 월급이나 여러 가지 생각을 해볼 때 또 망할 수도 있는 그런 부분을 생각했을 때 약간 스타트업을 진행하기가 어렵다라고 생각하시는 분들이 많으실 거예요. 그래서 혹시 오늘 저희가 이번에 연설을 부탁한 게 프루프의 프로토콜뿐만이 아니라 자기네가 스타트업을 하면서 어떤 부분들이 힘들었는지 그것들을 어떻게 홍보하려고 했고 또 어떻게 극복하려고 했는지 그런 부분에 대해서 소개를 해줄 거고 이 팀도 물론 ICO를 조금 앞두고는 있어요. 근데 아직 정확히 계획은 나온 건 아니고 그래서 이 팀이랑 얘기를 해보시면 이 팀도 또 개발진을 또 구하고 있는 입장이다 보니까 관심 있으신 분들은 한번 보셔도 좋을 것 같아요. 그리고 뭐 이거는 꼭 이더리움에 관련된 건 아닌데 좀 요새 누구나 다 이제 아실 만한 뉴스 같은 것들이 많이 나왔는데 중국 같은 경우의 변화는 이제 좀 식상할 정도로 오랫동안 좀 얘기가 많이 나오고 있어서 그 중국의 이더리움 열풍이 불고 있다라는 얘기 사실 이제 더 드릴 필요도 없이 너무 많은 얘기가 있어서 그 부분은 더 얘기는 안 드리고 최근에 한 3일 전이었나요? 미국 네바다주에서 처음으로 가상화폐 거래에 대해서 가상화폐 교환이나 거래에 대해서 세금을 걷지 않도록 하는 법안이 만들어졌어요. 근데 이거 같은 경우는 보통 법안이 만들어지면 이제 시행을 하고 뭐 그런 기간들이 필요한데 이거 같은 경우는 이제 모두 찬성이 나오자마자 통과되자마자 바로 시행될 수 있는 그런 법이거든요. 그래서 이제 불과 3일 전부터 실제 효력이 발생해서 미국 네바다주 내에서는 이제 가상화폐 거래에 대한 세금을 따로 걷지는 않고 러시아에서는 이제 저도 좀 어떤 분의 좀 뉴스를 잘못 듣고 오해를 하긴 했는데 러시아에서 이제 가상화폐 거래가 뭐 이미 자산으로 됐다 혹은 이미 화폐로 인정을 받아서 세금을 받지 않는다 이런 부분에 대한 이제 이야기가 좀 잘못 돌고 있는 부분이 있는데 확인해 보니까 올해 4월에 그냥 러시아 중앙은행장이 인터뷰를 나와서 한 건데 가상화폐는 더 이상 어떤 불법적인 것이 아니라 합법적인 자산으로 봐야 한다라는 그런 공식적인 언급을 해버림으로써 사람들이 러시아가 이제 그렇게 변할 2018년이나 2019년에 변할 거라는 그런 그냥 가이드라인을 제시했을 뿐인데 사람들이 이제 그걸 보고 러시아가 이제 이미 바뀌었다라고 좀 생각했는데 그 부분이 좀 오해가 있으시니까 러시아가 벌써 뭐 합법화가 됐고 뭐 자산 거래 혹은 현물 거래, 태도 거래, 피엣 거래라고 생각하지 않으시면 될 것 같아요. 잠시만요. 곧 있으면 올 것 같거든요. 지금 이제 인프라 마이클 윌러 분께서 오셨는데 잠깐만 숨만 고르고 저희가 PPT 준비하고 바로 진행될 수 있게 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Hi everyone. Sorry I'm late. The Seoul traffic got us pretty bad.
그리고 오늘 그 행사가 끝나고 나면 저희가 이제 애프터 파티라고 해서 간단하게 치킨이랑 맥주로 해서 이제 뒤풀이를 하실 수 있다. 앞에서 이제 안내 받으셨겠지만 이제 가서 저희가 돈을 좀 받게 될 것 같아요. 그래서 오시기 전에 좀 미리 준비해 주시면 감사하겠고 이번에 마이클 윌러 씨도 같이 가서 뭐 치맥을 한다고 얘기를 하니까 또 비어나 뭐 소맥 이런 걸 또 먹고 싶다라고 얘기를 해요. 한국에 처음 방문했으니까 이제 한국의 나이트 라이프 문화가 궁금하다라고 하니까 여러분께서 잘 알려주시면 많이 도움이 될 것 같습니다.
Translation?
What is your presentation?
This one?
This one?
Or PDF this one?
네, 안녕하세요. 코어가나이저 정순혁입니다. 땡글 닉네임은 철학자고요. 윌러 씨가 컨센시스에서 인퓨라라는 서비스를 맡고 있어요. 소개는 이 드렸구나. 그리고 지금 한국에 방문하셨는데 컨센시스나 궁금한 점 있으시면은 질문을 편하게 해주시면 되고요. 그 다음에 뭐 프레젠테이션은 준비가 되고 혹시 영어에 좀 굉장히 익숙하신 분? Is there anyone who's very familiar with English or foreigners? Please raise your hand. Less than 50.
So, this isn't going to be very helpful.
뭐 걱정하지 마세요. 중요한 부분은 제가 트랜스레이트 해드릴 테니까. 일단은 마이클 윌러스 모시고 이제 인프라에 대해서 좀 설명을 드려보도록 하겠습니다.
So I'm gonna read a translation as we talk.
If something that you need to be translated, and you can talk to me if it's really important. Maybe stay in this maybe once you can talk to me next.
Okay, next. Hey everyone, welcome to Ethereum Seoul Meetup. I'm very excited to be here. I'm super excited to visit South Korea. Seoul is my first trip ever, and I know there's an amazing community here in Seoul as far as trading goes. I've heard that much. How many people here are developers? Engineers? Very good. Great. Excellent. And others, how many are new to Ethereum? Just, okay, so I'd like to, at the beginning, do like a brief what is Ethereum type thing, because I don't like to assume that everybody understands what Ethereum is. If you are, I apologize if you're well versed on Ethereum. Go ahead and do next. I will just introduce myself first. My name is Michael Wuehler. I'm the head of the INFURA Project at ConsenSys. ConsenSys, I'll talk about in a minute, is a venture production studio building decentralized applications primarily on the Ethereum platform. I have a master's degree in information systems management. I also studied mathematics. I did an MBA at the University of Chicago, Booth School of Business. I started my career in 1995 as an internet engineer, just as the internet was getting started, and kind of went through that bubble and popped bubble that happened with the internet companies. I think that we're kind of in that same type of situation in the blockchain space now. I spent 11 years at Bank of America. I was a lead of the global, I was head of middleware messaging for the global markets line of business, and then most recently I was a COO of the global engineering organization. I left the bank last summer. Can you hear me? Yeah. I left the bank last summer to join ConsenSys. Just in the startup world, and it's been amazing. It's given me the opportunity to travel to places like this and meet the communities. I think one of the most interesting things about the Ethereum project itself is just the large number of communities like this that we have globally. I think I'm not familiar with any of the other cryptocurrency groups or communities that is as global and as it works together as well as this community here in the Ethereum community. I spent this last few weeks in Asia. I've been in Tokyo presenting. I've been in Singapore presenting. And I just, we get big groups like this in all the cities and lots of interest in Ethereum. So I started in the Bitcoin space in 2011, just reading about Bitcoin. And when I heard about Ethereum in 2014, I got really excited and I wanted to meet other people to talk about Ethereum. So I started the meetup community in New York City. And I still run that meetup community today. There's over 2,500 members. One of the largest meetup groups in the world, and I think this one is. We have meetups and we have about the same size of people show up. There's a great audience and participation. So, what is Ethereum? Ethereum is a distributed public blockchain network. It's an open source platform based on blockchain technology that enables developers to build and deploy decentralized applications, or we call them dapps. Unlike Bitcoin, instead of mining for Bitcoin on the Ethereum network, Ethereum miners mine for Ether. And it's a type of crypto token that fuels the network. So the Ether actually has utility on the Ethereum network as the fuel to pay for computational power or computational steps on the Ethereum network. And also beyond just, well, I just said that. So yeah, Ether, unlike some tokens like Bitcoin, Ether is a crypto token, but it also has utility. Sometimes I like to use the analogy of Bitcoin being like digital gold and Ether more like digital oil. So it's kind of like it has utility as a commodity in addition to being just something that can be traded. So pictures of networks. So you've got your traditional centralized networks. Those are the resources, the networks that you might be familiar with, Google, for example, or Facebook. And then you have decentralized networks, which are kind of little pods of networks that join loosely. But as you know, in a decentralized network, you still have some single points of failure. If your connection to another network breaks, then you essentially are isolated from that network. And so a distributed network is where it's a completely peer-to-peer network. And you can imagine that any or all or many of the nodes on the network can disappear without any nodes losing the ability to connect with the rest of the network. So at the core of Ethereum is the Ethereum virtual machine. So this is Vitalik. I'm sure you're familiar with him. He's the original inventor of the Ethereum protocol. So it's a Turing-complete software that runs on top of the Ethereum network. So Vitalik, when he invented Ethereum, at the time, Bitcoin, there were lots of different projects trying to build different use cases on top of Bitcoin. So colored coins and different things like that. We're trying to tweak the blockchain, the Bitcoin software to do one specific use case. And Vitalik's idea was that they were coming about it the wrong way, that rather than try to tweak the Bitcoin network, that's re-engineer the entire blockchain as a platform with a language that you can write software and deploy to it. And then any sort of use case that you want to build would be enabled. Kind of like a Swiss Army knife, you could just like an iPhone or a I guess I'm in Korea, well, just like a Samsung phone. You have to, if you can write apps and deploy them to your smartphones. So very similarly on the Ethereum network, it's more like a smartphone. You can just write apps, decentralized apps, and deploy them to the blockchain. So I won't read through this, but what is Ethereum compared to a couple of other networks? Some of the features that you have are the ability to rapidly develop decentralized applications. Ethereum has a well-supported roadmap and well-communicated roadmap for scalability and things like sharding of address space and Casper proof of stake, which is coming, are some of the key benefits. Also, all the transactions are cryptographically secured at the end user level. And also smart contracts run natively within the protocol itself. And then finally, it's a very robust developer community. Like I said before, I go lots of places globally and I see large rooms like this filled with people interested in working together and building on the Ethereum platform. So, go ahead. So why Ethereum? So there's a clear roadmap, as I said before. Developer community. One thing I want to talk about briefly is just the enterprise Ethereum. So recently there was the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, which was launched earlier this year, in January of this year, initially with around 30 enterprises and small businesses who are working together to form standards for the Ethereum platform. And recently 86 more companies joined that alliance, and I believe several hundred more are in the queue to join. So lots of interest in the enterprise community and coming together and developing standards for how to use enterprise within. On the drive over, I think Kevin, you told me that Samsung has joined, or registered to join the EEA, yeah. Yeah, and then smart contracts. So go ahead to the smart contracts. So what is a smart contract? Smart is a computer code that can facilitate the exchange of money, property, shares, or anything of value. So what happens with the smart contract? Step one, an option contract between parties is written as code into the blockchain. So you write the code that defines the smart contract and be deployed to the blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain. The individuals involved are anonymous, or at least they can be, so you can engage and trade trustlessly with another counterparty without having to worry about trusting them. When some sort of event happens, like an expiration date or a stock price change is hit, the contract will execute exactly as it was intended to execute and settle based on however the code was written to settle that. So regulators can see and look at the activity because everything is public on the blockchain. So you have an auditability. So that's the nature of the smart contract. As I said, it all executes exactly as it has to. There's no need to have a legal or judicial system to enforce the contract as long as the two parties have agreed to enter the contract and of course the contract is written appropriately so that it behaves as intended. So we've seen that before with some other poorly written contracts and then they get hacked. So that's something the developer community really needs to work on. Okay, so I'll just do a brief overview of ConsenSys, our company. So ConsenSys is a venture production studio building distributed applications using blockchain technology, primarily Ethereum platform. Our vision is a world in which distributed applications and the Ethereum world computer enable a new class of frictionless global commerce with inclusion for all. Our mission is to assemble the tools needed to build and scale the emerging economic, social, and political ecosystem for the planet. And our platform, we envision to go well beyond the capabilities embodied within Bitcoin. Ethereum came into existence with the purpose of becoming the world computer. And about ConsenSys, we have three main areas that we work with. At the bottom is the infrastructure. So what we're doing there is we're helping build the Ethereum community, the Ethereum ecosystem, by maintaining clients and developer tools and infrastructure platforms. We maintain three of the implementations of the Ethereum client, the Java, the Haskell, and the .NET implementations. So as you know, there's 8 different client implementations for the Ethereum platform. The primary ones are the Go Ethereum and the Parity client. We also do a bunch of developer tools, frameworks, identity systems, registry systems, token standards. We built the ERC20 token standard, which has become very popular, reputation systems, and then also a gateway platform, INFURA, which is what I'll talk about tonight. That's my project. So on top of the infrastructure, we have product. So we actually are building decentralized applications themselves that are leveraging the Ethereum blockchain. So these are like rights management, governance, crowdfunding, prediction markets. You may be familiar with the Gnosis prediction market that recently had a token launch. And then we do enterprise consulting. So this is where we work with the enterprise customers and we consult to deliver use cases pertinent to their business. And some of the customers that we have publicly been able to discuss relationships with is PHP Billiton, the largest mining company in the world, Microsoft Energy, which is an energy company in Germany, and also the UAE government in Dubai. So we're working with the Smart Dubai initiative closely as the city advisor to the Dubai government. This is a kind of a noisy slide, but blockchain solution architecture. So this just gives you an example of what it looks like and how it differs from maybe a traditional platform or architecture. Cloud hosting at the bottom. So we have dapp hosting and node reliability, gateway type services. So that's the INFURA stuff that I'll talk about. And these are hosted on traditional cloud providers like AWS or Microsoft Azure. And then blockchain runs on top of that. So that's the actual client, the blockchain client itself. So that's the P2P distributed ledger, the smart contract engine or the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine. Your accounts are there. And then also we have decentralized storage integration. You might be familiar with IPFS or Swarm for storage. And then services on top of that. So on top of the blockchain, then you have different wallets, identity services, development frameworks or oracles that deliver service into the blockchain. And finally, on top of all that, you can build your UI or UX, so your applications themselves. These are your user interfaces, the external APIs, the hooks in and out to your existing systems, and what your users will actually interact with, which is more like a traditional web application today. So ConsenSys as a global delivery experience, this is our location. Hopefully we get a location in Korea soon. For now, these are where we're located. But we have over 200 people in over 5 continents, 26 countries. And this, I guess, I can send this slide out because I won't have time to read through this, but this is just a look at the entire breadth of the infrastructure and products that we have at ConsenSys. So I'll send this out and you can read through it. And quickly, just as for the developers here, I wanted to announce our ConsenSys Academy. So there's a real shortage in smart contract or Ethereum developers, and we're searching for really good developers anywhere they exist around the world. So we have decided to come up with a blockchain challenge. What this is a 10-week, so this is a free program. You just apply and register for the program, and if you're accepted, you will be able to go through a 9-week online training course with ConsenSys. The last week, the 10th week, there'll be a paid, all expense paid trip to Dubai to work on some of the projects and work closely and mentor with some of our existing developers there. You'll also get a ConsenSys certificate certifying that you've completed this program. And at the end of it, also opportunity for full-time employment with ConsenSys. So again, this is a free program, and there's no cost to do this program other than you have to be accepted into it. So take a look at academy.consensys.net. I think the applications are still open until July 1st, I think. So go ahead. All right, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about the challenges of developing on Ethereum. I have to. Okay, that's fine. So this is the anatomy of a decentralized application. This is what, when you're developing, what it probably looks like. So you've got your users who are connecting to some sort of static front end, which is your traditional HTML, CSS, or JavaScript. That code, in order to communicate with the Ethereum network, communicates over RPC to a node on the network that belongs to the rest of the Ethereum network. So go ahead. So what are the challenges of running that node on your laptop? So on the laptop, there's it's a lot of resource usage, especially disk space. The blockchain is about 3.7 or 8 million blocks at this point, about 100 gigabytes. And it's constantly being attacked, so you have to install new versions of the software. When you first install it, it takes several hours to sync to the network. If you close your laptop or reboot and you bring it back up, you have to sync up again. So it's kind of a challenge to run on your local laptop the entire Ethereum blockchain, which is what's needed if you want to develop locally on your laptop. You could say, okay, well, I'll put that into a cloud VM, so that's true, you can, and you would always have that on. The challenge there is you've got cost, so you've got, it requires a fairly heavy VM with significant SSD storage to handle all of this. And you still have that same initial sync issues as well. So what we're trying to do is we built something called INFURA, which basically eliminates that pain point for a developer having to have the entire Ethereum blockchain on their laptop. So our mission is to provide the world with a secure, stable, fault-tolerant, and scalable Ethereum and IPFS nodes. So back to this original diagram where we sit here, instead of having your node there, we have this INFURA service, which acts as a gateway into the Ethereum blockchain. So your application can communicate via INFURA and not have to worry about running this local node yourself. So the features are for security, we have public TLS or HTTPS enabled endpoints for the Ethereum network and all of the test networks. So there's several test networks at this point. We've got Ropsten, Kovan, Rinkeby, and we have an INFURA as well. So imagine if you're a developer and you need to deploy to all these different test networks, you have to have a node for all these different test networks. We just give you an endpoint and you can point your code at that and use us for your communication. We also support IPFS, which is, I haven't talked too much about, but it's decentralized storage. So we also have a gateway for that. And stability, portable interface, it's fully compatible with the JSON RPC, so whatever library you like to use, whether it's Java or JavaScript, you're not locked in. So there's PHP libraries being built, there's Python libraries being built. Also fault tolerant, we have multi-client backend, so we run both the Go Ethereum client and the Parity client. So we're quickly able to route traffic to one or the other if one starts having issues, which we've seen several times. And scalability, we've got worldwide peering and a service layer we call Ferryman, so we do caching, throttling of requests, logging, etc. for analytics. I'll talk about the worldwide peering in the coming slide. So with the Ethereum client peering, it can be a problem or a challenge when you're syncing or trying to relay transactions to the network if you don't have a robust set of peers that you're connected to on the network. So what we've done to do this is we maintain a worldwide network of clients where we have 32 global Ethereum nodes that we run, and we bootstrap our main Ethereum nodes with those 32. So right off the bat, when our nodes start, they are initially syncing with 32 global peers that we trust and that we know are synced appropriately. So this has a great value in that we feel that we're able to receive broadcasted transactions as fast or faster than any other peers or nodes on the network. So this is what our architecture looks like. You've got your decentralized applications coming into our load balancers. Our load balancers are there for fault tolerance, redundancy. Those relay traffic into our Ferryman service layer. We call that kind of our special sauce. That's the main thing that adds the value to this whole system. We're able to, at the Ferryman layer, kind of like a transaction broker, make decisions and route appropriately, do some caching with Redis, logging, and then Ferryman makes decisions and routes the request into the appropriate network, whether it's a Go or a Parity client, or whether it's on the test network, one of the test networks. And similarly with IPFS, and those all participate with the public Ethereum and IPFS networks. So one specific example, it was scaling. So recently there was token launch for Gnosis you might be familiar with. In these token launches, the spike in Ethereum traffic goes up quite a bit in very short periods of time. And some recent ones, they've sold out in minutes. The tokens, this one sold out in 10 minutes, I believe. So when we get those spikes in traffic, having a scalable backend provider for your Ethereum nodes becomes very valuable. You don't want your one node to fall over if you're trying to do a token sale. You want to make sure that you're able to scale and take that spike of traffic. So we acted as the backend for the Gnosis token launch and for any transaction also that comes through MetaMask. We're also the backend for that. So here's just a look at our growth. So this is more a statement of the growth of Ethereum in general. So as you know, in the last several months, Ethereum has gotten extremely popular. We see that in the price of the Ether token. You see that in almost every metric you look at related to Ethereum growth. This is our growth. We peaked at about 840 million requests a day, or about 10,000 requests a second. And we anticipate that this is just going to continue to grow. So having infrastructure to support volumes like this isn't trivial. So you as a developer, you may want to start running your own node, but as your applications go to production and start to gain users and volume of traffic, you're probably going to find a need for a service like INFURA to help you handle that volume. So I just want to talk, okay, and then just talking a few things. This is more, maybe a little more technical. If you're interested, these are some of the scaling challenges we've been facing lately. So in order to handle 840 million requests a day and how to analyze all that data became very problematic and challenging. So the task needed to be accomplished with a team of one. So we're a very small team at this point. We just have a few people. We have one main engineer focusing on our infrastructure and managing the stream of data. So we also needed logs to be persisted indefinitely so that they could be re-indexed and analyzed. Parsing it had to be easy to parallel and scale. We anticipate just a solution that we need so that we can continue to see an enormous growth scale. So what was our solution? We run Docker on all of our containers. We run applications inside of Docker containers so we can easily quickly scale that. We run fluentd output from the Docker logs and ship that to S3. This is an AWS in this particular solution. We use AWS CloudWatch event triggers and Lambda functions to process new logs into that show up in the S3 bucket. And then we use RDS to store the aggregated data. And then we're using Airbnb's open source superset project to provide visualization to that data. Okay, yeah. So another challenge was just that initial blockchain sync I talked about before. So Ethereum is continuously growing the blocks. It's only about 2 years old and they're up to almost 3.8 million blocks. You can imagine in 5 or 10 years, the blockchain is going to be an enormous. It's going to be an enormous size as far as disk space usage. So when we deploy a new node to the network, we have to sync that node from scratch. And we can take snapshots, but we feel like the most trusted way is to let that node sync organically. So we see that this total data is growing non-linearly because the explosive exponential growth I kind of already talked about. So that initial block sync has been a real challenge as well. And so how do we solve that? We use a dynamic IOPS on our nodes. So this is a feature that we get with AWS that allows us to dynamically allocate IOPS to our hosts, EBS volumes as we're starting this out. So we use Cloud Init user data functionality to set up our dependencies on a new VM. We use CloudWatch metrics to determine which region of the blockchain are slow to sync because of attacks. And then we dynamically size those volumes to get us through the tough spots in the blockchain and to optimize sync time. Because IOPS are the expensive part of running EBS, we don't want to leave the high IOPS after we're back to a stable state, so we can dynamically reduce them to reduce our costs as well. So that was kind of the presentation I had tonight. This is how you can connect with INFURA. You can look us up on the internet, follow us on Twitter, or email, and I'll be there to respond. So thank you very much, everyone.
이제 질의응답 시간이 있는데요. 질문 있으신 분은 손을 들어서 물어보시면 될 것 같고, 영어로 하시면 영어로 직접 하셔도 좋고요. 한글로 하시면 제가 번역을 해가지고 전달하도록 하겠습니다. 혹시 질문 있으신가요? 예, 본인 하시고 계신 일 한번 얘기해 주시고 그 다음에 질문해 주시면 될 것 같습니다. 자기소개 한번 해주시면.
저는 비트코이너고요. 뭐 따로 개발자나 그런 건 아니고요. 코인에 관심이 많아서 미더에 자주 참석하고 있습니다. Thanks for your presentation. I just checked what you said before. Your ConsenSys has 32 nodes.
32.
32 the Ethereum node.
INFURA, we have 32 global Nodes? Yes.
How many total in the blockchain, Ethereum blockchain?
Over 10,000.
10,000.
Yeah.
Is it enough for 30? My understanding is that 32 nodes guarantee your infra stability. Am I right?
That's the intention. The intention is to use those global nodes as trusted peers that we know are stable, so that we can get connected into Asia, for example, into Korea, into Japan, into Singapore, to Europe. We could, it's not a necessary thing, we could just let the normal peer-to-peer network handle itself like it normally does. But our goal is to get our main INFURA nodes to have as many peers as possible, in the hundreds, but also we prefer that they're peering globally instead of just regionally. So that's why we do it.
So if there is a new competitor who has more nodes than yours, then it guarantees more stability.
Possibly.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Yeah. Possibly. We're not mining though, so we're not mining at all with our nodes. I hope if I wasn't clear about that, we're not miners.
Okay, thank you.
아예 방금 질의응답 내용은 그 인프라가 가지고 있는 노드 개수나 지금 현황에 대해서 일단 좀 처음에 여쭤보셨고, 그다음에 그 다른 노드들이 더 나타날 경우에 스케일러빌리티 이슈에 대해서 좀 더 주고받았습니다. 그다음 또 다른 질문 또 있으신가요? 예, 네. 자리 본인 소개 한번 해주시고요. 질문 한글로 해주셔도 됩니다. 제가 번역을 제 통역 잘 하니까.
네, 저도 뭐 이더리움하고 이더리움 관련해서 생각하는 게 있고요. 아까 거기 그 토큰 옵션 하는데 그 토큰 옵션은 인프라에서 어느 정도 지원해 주는 거예요? 어느 정도 지원해 주는 거예요? 그 프레임워크를 지원해 주는 거예요? 아니면 그냥 인프라 노드만 지원해 주는 거예요?
He asked you about the analysis token sale, and he is wondering whether you're providing a framework or just a node to the analysis.
Just the backend service, just the gateway to the Ethereum network that's scalable. So we don't have a framework for that. ConsenSys does have projects that facilitate token sales and token launches. One particular one is called Wuehler, which I didn't speak about tonight, but it's a crowdfunding tool that you can use to raise currency or cryptocurrency through a token's launch.
네, 대답은 그 프레임워크를 이제 지원하고 있는 건 아니고요. 그 해당 서비스가 블록체인으로 연결될 수 있는 중간에 게이트웨이 역할을 지금 담당하고 있다고 합니다. 그래서 어떤 서비스를 만들더라도 인프라의 게이트웨이를 쓰게 되면 이제 블록체인 네트워크로 연결될 수 있다고 대답을 했어요. 또 다른 질문 있습니까? 예.
Hi, thank you. You mentioned a lot of like scalability.
First, before just start your training and you have some introduction about yourselves. Why don't you give me an introduction about yourself?
Okay, I'm Karen. I work for a startup in San Francisco, and I'm traveling in Asia. I wanted to ask, you guys are dealing with a lot of scalability challenges. I wonder if you see a limitation there, any potential limitation, and if so, how do you continue planning to do them?
So the great thing about cloud services today is it's very easy to scale infrastructure fairly quickly. We're working as best we can to automate that. There's a unique challenge with blockchain infrastructure because it's not a stateless system. So you can't just quickly auto-scale or do, you can't just quickly auto-scale because you have to have the chain data, which becomes a little bit problematic. So I think our biggest challenge to scaling will be when the chain data size is so big that it takes days to sync initially. We'll probably get to the point where we take snapshots of VMs and we can quickly kind of horizontally scale. Is your startup doing similar growth?
No, we're not entirely different.
Okay. Did that answer the question?
Yeah.
네, 질문은 지금 현재 인프라를 운영하면서 얻고 있는 가장 어려움이 큰 무엇이냐, 가장 큰 어려움이 무엇이냐에 대해서 질문했고, 지금 그 마이크로의 답변은 뭐였냐면은 클라우드 서비스의 장점이 언제든지 확장 가능하다. 그리고 저희가 가지고 있는 가장 큰 문제점은 사용자가 너무 빠른 속도로 늘고 있어서 이거에 대한 처리를 하기 위해서 AWS 스냅샷을 찍는다든가 하는 기존 방식으로 이런 많은 리퀘스트들을 극복을 하고 있다 이렇게 대답을 했습니다. 네, 또 다른 질문 또 있으실까요? 예, 저 끝에 여자 본인 소개해 주시고 질문해 주시면 될 것 같습니다.
Hello, I work for some as a consultant, so to build some kind of chatbots or something. I have one question. Can you explain how the difference between Ethereum and Hyperledger? And Hyperledger is based on the system of Linux, and your system is based on AWS. So can you tell me why you choose AWS, not Linux? Okay. Yes.
So
First transfer. 일단은 그 이더리움이랑 그 하이퍼레저 간의 차이점이 뭔지 일단 물어봤고, 그 다음에 인프라는 지금 직접 클라우드 시스템으로 AWS, 아마존에서 제공하는 클라우드를 쓰고 있는데 왜 마이크로소프트나 다른 곳에서 제공하는 블루믹스나 이런 다른 인프라를 이용하지 않느냐에 대해서 이제 질문을 했습니다.
So, just to clarify, AWS is just one particular cloud provider. We are installed on multiple, so we're also on Microsoft Azure. So that's simply just the infrastructure platform. So the difference between Ethereum and Hyperledger, there's quite a lot of them, and I have a pretty good paper that the ConsenSys has written. I could send out if you were interested to read through. It does a deep dive into the main differences between IBM Hyperledger Fabric and the Ethereum kind of open source platform. But I think the biggest one in my mind is just exactly that. Ethereum is an open platform. It's a public network, whereas Hyperledger is a closed private network. So if you build on top of Hyperledger Fabric, and you ever at some point want to extend that capability to the public blockchain, you kind of have to rewrite. You have to start from scratch. So it's kind of back to that original like open versus closed system, open source versus a closed system. Did that answer the question?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
죄송합니다. 제가 지금 다음 연사랑 좀 채팅하느라 내용을 다 못 들었는데요. 아무튼 주요 내용은 여러 가지 클라우드 서비스 중에 하나일 뿐이고 뭐 다른 걸로도 할 수 있는 부분이고요. 블루믹스와의 차이점은 하나는 좀 폐쇄적이라는 거고, 이 AWS 같은 경우는 굉장히 오픈돼 있다. 그래서 확장성이 있다. 이런 식의 이제 요지로 답변했습니다. 더 궁금하신 건 이제 영상 돌려보시면서 네, 더 자세한 질문 하시면 될 것 같습니다. 한 질문을 하나만 더 받을게요. 하나만 혹시 질문하고 싶어요? 예.
스타트업에서 소프트웨어 개발하고 있는 서버 개발자고요. 저는 startup software developer, and thank you for your presentation. I want to ask, I was thinking of such as a cloud service provider such as AWS and Azure or something else that would provide a blockchain service, such as blockchain as a service. Of course, there could be some Ethereum and public blockchain services. In that case, what can be your differentiations between those and INFURA?
Yeah, exactly. And we think about that.
Transfer first. 네, 인프라가 이제 클라우드 위에서 이제 이더리움에서 서비스를 이제 하고 있는데, 다른 이제 클라우드 상에서 이더리움에서 서비스가 이제 가능한데 이제 그들과의 차별점이 무엇이냐? 이 질문 맞죠? 그런 식의 의도를 질문했습니다. 이게 인프라의 차별점, 다른 서비스와.
Yeah, so that's a very real possibility that these cloud providers, in fact, Azure already has a blockchain as a service offering in the marketplace. It's based on Block App's software stack, which is at its core an Ethereum virtual machine. AWS very likely will at some point probably put it into their platform, a blockchain, a one-click blockchain, just like they do with RDS, this managed MySQL database, for example. So it's a very real possibility, and we talk about that. I think one of the things that we anticipate is having, so that would really compete with a single developer instance. That would solve that issue for just a single kind of developer use case, proof of concept, non-production. But we feel like in a production situation, you're going to probably want more global scale, more some of the features that we will be able to provide on top, such as caching, some of the analytics data, so we can provide kind of deep introspection into the exact method calls that are being made across the service, which might become valuable and useful to you as a developer as well. So good question, and hopefully they won't jump in too soon.
아니 대답은 이제 뭐 물론 이게 다른 클라우드 서비스 이용해서 본인의 이더리움 메타 서비스를 이제 만들 수도 있는 부분인데 이 인프라를 이용하는 이유는 만약 라지 스케일 많은 요청 같은 그런 글로벌 규모 정도의 리퀘스트가 필요하다면 인프라를 쓸 수밖에 없을 거라고 얘기를 하네요. 여러 가지 평이들 제공 분석 시스템이라든지 어떤 그런 큰 스케일 규모의 리퀘스트를 처리할 수 있는 그런 시스템을 가지고 있기 때문에 그런 부분에 대해서 장점이 있다고 보고 굉장히 좋은 질문이라고 했습니다. 그러면은 질문은 여기서 마치고요. 지금 시간이 7시 57분인데 원래 8시에 지금 뱅코가 이제 시작을 하기로 했는데 제가 지금 얘기 중인데 한 10분 정도 늦어질 거라고 얘기를 했어요. 그래서 8시 10분에 그 뱅코를 해가지고 스카이프로 이제 하도록 하겠습니다. We're gonna start the Bancor presentation. We are 10 minutes behind, so and we have our breaking times and the networking time. You can send your name cards or yourself or your names. Okay. And the snack and the drinks are ready in the behind of this room, so you can ask questions or some things. Okay. Alright.
지금 인포 연락이 안 되네요.
Yeah. We upload it to the cloud and we share our presentation. Posted behind the room. Oh,
I want to say I actually had a question, but I'm a huge fan of ConsenSys. We just did the STO blockchain challenge in Dubai, and like talked to a bunch of guys, and like we use ERC20 for our own blockchain. So we yeah, as well because I don't really say I'm not particularly biased as your name, so I'm really excited about the ConsenSys options. I think that's yeah, I was going to ask, is there any kind of developer as far as like acceleration or how do you I came in a bit late, so I don't know if you talked about that. Yeah, so that's going to interfere as well. Specifically, yeah, so curious what's
Yeah, there's a public break.
We're just going so much like we're struggling to keep up. So that's been a very consistent thing with like documentation. What's meeting our goals that are out there. But yeah, we definitely need more structure.
Because yeah, we're always looking for new perspective on our office because we're using AWS with our own stuff. And so we're not looking on like a platform. So at some point, like as a pushing sysadmin type of offerings in there as well. So we're really interested in seeing this.
Well, I mean, all we have at the end of the day, all we are
Just a nice
so you say we're good shot. Or if you're MetaMask,
and yeah, also I'm going to volunteer. Are you based in Korea?
No, I'm not.
You're in New York, man. Yeah, funny enough.
been here like 2 weeks almost. Tokyo presented
영어 공부 해야겠네. 영어 공부 좀 하려고. 다들 영어 공부하다고. 영어 안 된다고.
But yeah, if you're looking to do any sort of, I'm volunteering services. We definitely have our own platform. We do a lot of kind of new stuff, and like that's why I'm looking about here. Because if you're looking for an outlet as far as maybe and we're always looking for anywhere creative. Even like cities, initiative on this blockchain digital side.
we've got stuff like that right now. Maybe Singapore right now. I think it's on my long. Yeah, definitely. Resources to
As far as like advocating, we'll take a look at INFURA. We have a lot of events. So also work with these guys as well. Exposure, essential for this.
We have some communication problems with Bancor, so if they are not started in 15 minutes, so yeah, we will be the next. We're going to be the next feature.
No problem.
No problem.
My
Your race ready?
Yeah, I've actually given this presentation.
Okay.
It may come to a little bit under 30 minutes because I'm going to speak there.
I don't have any cards.
Oh, really?
Sorry, I left.
I didn't realize that the crowd was
What are your ideas?
something to do
Oh, yes,
along
that's
the
fine.
I got notified of this. I've been in Dubai. I just got back.
I will. Yeah.
So I didn't have much time to visit a lot of the slides.
Now let's know your
My slides are
I'll check.
So,
No, I think
I think I'll just kind of let it flow, and then during the Q&A, I'd love for you to kind of summarize some of the stuff you're talking about.
Yeah.
Or if you feel like the audience can do something, I'll go ahead and thank you for this opportunity. Where is Bancor?
Yeah, it's.
What brings you to watching these?
So where is Bancor?
Where's Bancor? They are in the garage.
No. I mean, like, why aren't they here?
Why are they here? Because they are new. I don't know if they're really busy. Prepared for the ICO.
Oh yeah.
Usually most of the things are just be at the time. Developer does and the notches and
So they're doing
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's on the screens and they comes up and then they listen to that stream.
Yeah, I was excited because we actually are looking at trying to work on some stuff. So it's really hoping to have something to go.
Yeah,
I don't know if this one.
It's like our class.
If you're interested in the background, then you need to see
Yeah, sure.
Via the email. I can do
Thank you so much.
Let's wait till after you guys. So we'll go over this basic because I know right now they're very
Web developers, so JavaScript.
And your person? Yeah.
no. It's only 15
Like
slides.
Java is like full on.
That's not very many slides. I do a lot of talking.
We are preparing and sketches.
How about you?
2030 and comments.
Yeah, but it's more based around the implementation details because I thought it was going to be more on this audience.
And you're comparing demos.
No. I do screenshots and kind of talk about it. So you see the platform.
We do. We have a group. We have part of our consensus between machine learning, blockchain data, another section
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay. We are having some video chats, and your voice is broadcasted to the audience right now, from now. Okay. Please say something.
Hello. Everyone can hear me?
질문 마이크지.
Okay.
Yes, I can see them.
I'm gonna say something to the audience, and then you can start.
Okay, great.
지금 뱅코르가 지금 비디오 콜로 연결이 됐는데요. 지금 뱅코르의 코파운더 중 한 명이 이제 야알이 그 뱅코르 네트워크에 대해서 설명을 할 거고요. 그 다음에 지금 현재 시간이 8시 15분인데 한 30분 정도 얘기를 나누고 15분간 Q&A 시간을 가지고 그 다음에 뭐 휴식 시간 10분 정도 가지고 그다음 프로프 한 10분 정도. It might possible that you are starting 10 minutes behind. Is it okay? That's fine. Okay. 한 10분 정도 믿어질 것 같아요. 그래서 10분 정도, 그러니까 9시 10분쯤에 프로프 발표하고 질의응답하고 이제 그 오늘 그 현장 미답을 이제 마무리를 하고 그 다음에 뭐 치맥 뭐 드실 분 같이 오셔가지고 이제 같이 즐기도록 하겠습니다. 그러면은 그러면 저희 그 야라의 프레젠테이션을 시작을 할게요. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna share the screen from now on. Okay, go ahead.
So hello everyone. I'm Eyal, and I'm one of the founders of Bancor. And I would like to tell you a little bit about our project today. So it all started with when we discovered Bitcoin in 2011. When we discovered Bitcoin, we started to think about what money is and how money is different from information. And after thinking about it, we got to the conclusion that the main difference is that when you give someone else money, he cannot copy it and give it to 10 other people. But if I give someone just, I send him a file or image, then he can make copies and give it to many people. And that is a very fundamental difference between moving money and currencies to moving information around. And when we saw the first blockchain, the first implementation, which is Bitcoin, we were very excited to find out about it because what we saw in that is the first decentralized database. The first database that did not have to be in nice offices like that of a bank in order to manage the transactions. And when you have a decentralized database that everyone can use, it's to value what the internet has done to information. Because the internet is decentralized network for transferring information, and we see what it did to our world, but we haven't seen that with value because until the blockchain, value, which requires a database to manage who owns what, only was existing in building like this, in databases, in data centers, managed privately by a third party. And when this changed, then really everything changed. Now, blockchain 2.0 is opening the door to something much more, which for me, blockchain 2.0 is Ethereum. Because Ethereum is not just a currency. Ethereum is a platform. It's a platform that allows creating currencies and making it programmable currencies and writing specific code that manage those currencies. And this is not something you can do with Bitcoin, of course. And what we saw is something that we call the long tail, the beginning of the long tail of user-generated currencies. And when I'm saying the long tail, it's like you can compare it to YouTube. Before YouTube, there was a TV. And the TV, it has limited number of channels. And in this limited number of channels, you will see the greatest hits. But when YouTube came, then anyone can upload a video. And then you have billions and billions and billions of videos. And some of them are more popular, and some of them are less popular. But the interesting thing is that the most popular videos are a very small percentage of the views. Because most of the traffic, most of the video views, most of the people are in the long term watching very different kinds of videos. For example, some will watch their favorite soccer team, and some will watch videos about blockchain and Bitcoin and Ethereum, and some will watch videos about someone playing guitar. And if you combine all those things together, it's much bigger than the hits. And this is what's called the long tail. And we are starting to see the same with currencies, because now everyone can create its own currency, and for very different purposes. Now, this has happened in the world before. For example, you can think about every share that is traded in stock market, or every loyalty point, or every local currency. Those are all different types of currencies. And now it becomes so easy to build those currencies on the blockchain and deploy them on Ethereum. This is out of date, by the way. You see, this is an old presentation. The price now is more than $45. But it's just to show the idea that what you can do with these currencies is changing how financing and early stage financing is made. Because it used to be almost impossible to do early stage financing and offer it to the world and allow anyone to participate. But now, thanks to what we are seeing in ICOs and fundraisers, it is possible to allow anyone to participate in the early stage of the project, which once used to be open only for rich people to invest in the beginning and earn from the progress of the project. Now, I want to tell you about those systems that are user-generated, that have user-generated content, that have a long tail. And those systems, like YouTube, like Facebook groups, like Reddit, what they allow anyone to become a super user. So I can start my own Facebook group, and I can start my own subreddit, and some of them will succeed and some of them will fail, and those who succeed can really make it high and get millions of users. But the idea is that it is a three-tier platform, where you have the platform, you have the super user, and you have the end user that are using the groups or the subreddits or watching the videos by the people. And this is what we are building in Bancor. With Bancor, we're building a very, very simple system that enables anyone without technical knowledge to create its own currency on the Ethereum blockchain. And we work very hard to make it a very simple experience, not just to create a currency, but also to use the currency. So after the currency is created, then users can start using the currency for trade. And we make it very simple to create a token, to initiate a crowd sale. It's all happened with chatbots. So there's really not very big challenges technically to kind of complete the process. Now, the main thing that I think we solve, and this is what the Bancor protocol is all about, is the liquidity problem. The liquidity problem is solved by something that the Bancor protocol enabled that's called smart token. Smart token is a token which is ERC20 compliant, so it works just like any other Ethereum token. But the difference is that this token is taking care of its own liquidity and price discovery. And that means that those things that usually you will get from being listed in an exchange. So if you take a token and you list it in an exchange, and let's say there are traders and market makers and they are trading the token, then you have liquidity for the token because you can convert it to other tokens. That's the meaning of liquidity. You can convert it to something else. But not only liquidity, but also price discovery. Because how exchange works, with bid and ask, the price can go up and down. And this is a way for the market to discover the real price of any asset using a process that can be described as the wisdom of the crowd. Now, the way that it works is very different than exchanges. Because smart tokens have something called a reserve. Because smart tokens are money that can use money. They are special tokens that they can hold the other token in the reserve, in the smart contract. So the smart contract, which is the token, has a balance in another token. It can be Ether, or Bancor token, or any other token. Now, if you want to buy the token, then you, for example, send Ether to the smart contract. If the reserve token is Ether, you send Ether to the smart contract, and you get back newly issued token. So tokens are issued to you when you're buying the token. And when you do that, the price of the token in Ether goes up. So if the price was 1 Ether, maybe after you buy some tokens, it's 1.01 Ether. And if I buy more, it will be 1.02. And every time I buy, it will go up. Now if I sell the token, then the price will go down. Every time I sell the token, then I'm sending the token back to the smart token, to the smart contract that runs the token. And the token is essentially removed from circulation, what I'm sending, and I'm getting back from the reserve what is stored in the reserve. So what's important to understand here is that it is very different than exchanges, where if I want to buy or sell a token, I need to find someone else who wants to do the opposite. If I have Ether and I want Gnosis, I go to an exchange and I need to find someone that has Gnosis and wants Ether. And if there is a match and we agree on the price, then we do some kind of barter between us. We swap. Smart tokens do not work this way. Smart tokens, they work differently because you don't need to be matched with anyone. If you want to buy, you buy from the smart contract. If you want to sell, you sell to the smart contract. You do it whenever you want. So there cannot be a problem of liquidity with smart tokens. There cannot be a problem where it's not so traded, so I cannot sell it, or I cannot buy it. Or if I sell it or if I buy it, the price will go high too much or down too much. This is not happening with smart tokens because smart tokens, they manage their own reserve liquidity pool, if you will, a liquidity pool. And then when you buy it from the token, then what I'm paying is added to the reserve, and the reserve grows. And what I'm selling, the token, then I'm taking out from the reserve, and the reserve becomes smaller, and the price is decreased. Now this is how the price is calculated. It's very simple. The price of the token is the reserve divided by the supply of the token multiplied by the reserve ratio, constant reserve ratio, showed as F. This is the formula. And the constant reserve ratio is a number that you decide when you create a smart token, which basically is to say that if I create a token that have a reserve in Ether, for example. So if my constant reserve ratio is 10%, so it means that I will have 10% of the market cap of the token in my reserve in Ether, forever and ever. It cannot be changed. The reason it cannot be changed is because this is how the price is calculated. So it will always remain on 10%. This is why it's called constant reserve ratio. And the way that it works is that if I have a higher constant reserve ratio, then the volatility, the fluctuation of the price will be lower. So with 20% constant reserve ratio, every time you buy and sell, the price will move up and down more smoothly than with 10% constant reserve ratio, where the price will move more sharply whenever you buy and sell. Now those more advanced formula are to calculate the price given the transaction size, because we want to make sure that if you, for example, buy one token 100 times, and every time you buy the price is recalculated, we want to make sure that the end price would be exactly like buying 100 tokens. So there's no difference if someone buy one token 100 times or 100 tokens in one transaction. There's no difference because the price takes the transaction size into account and acts as if it was many, many, many different transactions. But this is done mathematically using those formulas. And here you can see an example that whenever anyone buy or sell the token, the price, the reserve is changing, and the price is changing, and you can see, you can watch all those transactions on our system. Now the interesting thing about reserve, and I have to tell you that we did not think about it when we on the beginning, when we started to think about reserve, we did not think about the possibility to have multiple reserves. But when we started thinking about it, we were very excited because you can have multiple reserves for a token, and the sum of those reserves can be even 100%. So if you have a smart token with 3 reserves, that each one is 33.3 constant reserve ratio, that would behave like a token basket. So it will be like a token that owns 3 different kinds of tokens. But not only that, the smart token will become a hub that connects between those other tokens, so you can convert from one token to another. And whenever you do that, you change the price of the token that you convert. So now the smart token have a price of 3 different tokens, and people can use it to convert between the tokens. And if the prices are getting far away from the market prices, let's say that I have a reserve of Augur and Gnosis. And people can now use the smart token in order to convert between Augur and Gnosis. And whenever they do that, the prices change a little bit. Now, if the prices are getting far away from the market, this is an opportunity for arbitrage. So this is just like a token being traded in several exchanges, and what keeps those exchanges balanced are arbitrage that make sure that if there is a price difference, they can make money with very little risk. So arbitrage agent bots, usually it's automated bots, they are essentially financially incentivized if the ratio between the reserves and the prices between the reserve close to the actual market price. Now, I want to show you how it looks like. Maybe, I don't know if you want, but I can take some questions before we move to the demos. What do you prefer?
혹시 여기까지 나온 내용 중에 질문 있으신가요?
마이크.
여태까지 나온 중에 혹시 질문 있으신가요? If you have any question, you can ask right now. No?
No question. Okay. So let's show the. It's not the demo. I will show you actually live net app.bancor.network. You can go right now to app.bancor.network. And we are using our system to run our bounty program. So you can see that we have 5 bounty programs. Each one is a token. And you can see the supply for each token, how many members in each bounty program, what is the name of the token. So for example, let's go to the translation bounties. And this is a community. Community and token is the same thing for us because every token is a community of people that hold the token and use the token. And on the front page, you can see welcome and instruction, and the name of the token is lingos. So if you translate the white paper, you get 1,000 lingos, and the website 500 lingos, and there are many different rewards here. And you can see what was translated, what was not translated. I see they did the Korean language for most of it, so that's already done. And then I can look at the token itself. This is the token of the community. That's a symbol, and this is the current supply. And I can see who is the manager of the community, and I can see all the transfer that was made by the manager to members. And we can, of course, transfer it between them. This token is an ERC20 compatible token, so it can be traded in exchanges, just like Augur and Golem and all those tokens. It's the same type of token. And you see that those people that participate in the bounty program, they're getting those tokens for doing various tasks. You can look at the member list, you can follow them and unfollow them. We can look at the specific profile. This is a user from Turkey, and you can see discussions, all the discussion that people are making around the translation community. So again, every community is essentially a token. It has a token, and it has members, and it has a discussion, and this is how it works. Now, I will show you now the demo application, which is what we're working on right now. And what you can see here is that I have this button that is to create. So for example, I can create a community. and what is the name of your community. So, Ethereum Korea, how about that? About the best community, the best Ethereum. And where is it located? Seoul. Well, it's integrated to Google Maps, so it should detect what I write. So again, very simple. What is the token symbol? PDHSEO. Okay, that will be the one. And what is the name? Let's go to ISO. Give it a name, the token. And now I have to sign the transaction because in order to do that securely, I do it on the web. And I just enter my password. I click submit, and that's it. I created the community for Seoul, and I can now customize it. So I can put some background image. Let's use that, and I can select the logo. Let's see if I have something here. This is you, right? I can select the logo, and I can write about it, all the information. And then I go to the token tab. Now remember, I'm the manager. I created the token. So what I can do here, I can initiate a fundraiser, which is like a crowd sale. That will take me through the bot and step by step, asking me the question, and when do you want to start it? How much do you want to raise? What's the minimum? What's the maximum? All those questions. And in the same way that you saw that I created the token, you answered a few questions, and you have a fundraiser running. You have an address. People can participate. And this will be integrated with credit cards, so it will be easy to participate with the credit card. We're working with some providers that do find Ether for credit card. And then you can also set for advanced smart tokens with multiple reserve, do manual depositing and activate the trading manually. So this is how it looks, how communities are created. As you can see, it's very, very simple because we are, in essence, our experience is to create simplified user experiences. That's what we have been doing. I started the company called Meta, which was a video website with 50 million users every month. My partners are in a similar background with millions of users every month playing the games that they develop. So this is what we know how to do. This is our background, and we are excited to bring the idea of simple user interface and accessibility to the Ethereum network, making it simple to use this tool called currency. Because we believe that currency is a tool for mass collaboration, a tool that enables many people to collaborate with each other, to work with each other, to cooperate with each other, to specialize. I think that this is such a genius invention, and still so many people, they don't like the idea of money so much because maybe they don't feel they have enough of it. But as a technology, as an instrument, it is a very important tool. And now, for the first time, I think in history, it is a tool that everyone can use, and we make it simple to make it liquid. which is very important because the liquidity between different currencies is what makes it one big network. If you travel outside of Korea and you pay with your credit card, you can pay all over the world. The reason that it works, that you can pay all over the world, even though the seller will get a different currency, the reason that it works is because they're all connected through exchanges. And there is a way to exchange the different currencies between countries because there is liquidity through these exchanges and you can convert your currency to any other. But if I created a currency right now in Ethereum, it's not going to be liquid. It's going to be like a computer network that is not connected to the internet. Liquidity is like being a computer network that is connected to the internet. A computer network can be useful without the internet, but it's so much more useful when it is connected to the internet. And it's the same way with currencies. Liquidity is very, very important because it creates one big network out of many different currencies. Just like the internet is one big network out of many different small networks that have connection between them. And so liquidity is very, very important. And with the Bancor protocol, we make it very simple. We make it automatic. There's no need to worry about liquidity. It's always going to be liquid, and the price is going to be moving according to the market demand. 5 minutes. And the second thing that we do, which is to simplify, is to make a very simple user interface, as you saw, which is integrated with chatbots like Telegram and Facebook Messenger and WeChat. And we're going to integrate with more chatbot platforms. So really, you don't even need to install an application. And this is how you get notifications. It's very simple for the end user. And the third thing that we make, which is simplifying the user experience, and I don't know how many of you have installed their own wallet, but keeping the password safe and copying words and all those things are very, very complicated for the end user. We had to find a solution for that. And the solution that we found is what some people call guardians. So everyone that joined the system can have guardians. Your guardian can be your geek friend, it can be your colleague, it can be the community manager, anyone that you like. And if you forgot your password, then the guardian can actually save you. It can trigger a process that within a safe time period you define, for example, 3 days, the funds will be moved from your account where you forgot the password to a new account. So we're, again, working on really making it a very simple user experience and easy way to create and use the tool of currencies. We're going to add to that integrated marketplaces, integrating credit cards, and credit cards both that you can use to buy the currencies, to buy the tokens, and also that you can use to spend the tokens. Like we have a partnership with Token Card, which allows you to spend your tokens, if they're liquid, which they are in Bancor, in any store, in any place that accepts credit cards, you can spend your tokens. So I think that's about it. Again, if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer. And if you want to ask something about the fundraisers that we are having on this Monday, I'll be happy to answer a question about that as well. So thank you very much.
질의응답 시간을 할 건데요. 이제 질문 있으신 분은 질문을 해주시면 됩니다. You can ask questions within 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
I'm sorry, you repeated.
Are we gonna have a Q&A time?
예, 본인 소개해 주시고 질문해 주시면 될 것 같아요.
Yeah, can you hear me? Can I just speak?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So, hi, I'm Daniel. I work in finance company. I work in finance, accounting, supporting stuff. But thank you very much for your presentation. I can see your passion. And I have actually two questions that I want to ask. Number one is that the word is around in Korea is that Bancor is a new token exchange, a new concept of token exchange. But here in your presentation, I can see that it's much more than that. It's not just a simple token exchange, but it's more of a platform that people can utilize to spread their network of currency. And it's because this concept is very new, I think it's very hard for people to take in and understand. So in your own words, if you had to explain this Bancor protocol to maybe an elementary school or middle school students, how would you put that in like one sentence? Well, that's my first question. And because the second you mentioned the fundraiser, so I looked at your ICO announcements and saw that there was no mentioning about the max capacity of tokens that you'll be publishing. So during that 1 hour period of the ICO that you'll be accepting everyone's contributions, do you have like a max capacity or supply of tokens that is going to be minted, or is it going to be just like unlimited, so everyone that contributes can get their tokens? So that's my question number two.
Before you answer the question, I'm going to translate his questions. 두 가지 질문을 해주셨는데요. 첫 번째 질문은 지금 이 컨셉이 ICO 플랫폼으로서 계속 이용하는 이 컨셉이 상당히 복잡한데 한 문장으로 굉장히 쉽게 설명해달라고 첫 번째 질문을 했고요. 그다음 두 번째 질문은 지금 이 플랫폼 상에서 이제 ICO를 할 수 있는 것 같은데 손쉽게 이제 이것에 대한 예를 들어 뭐 지금 러시아스 같은 경우 10분 안에 끝나버렸고 이렇게 하는데 이거에 대한 어떤 제약을 두는 건지 아니면 무제한으로 ICO를 받아들이는 건지 제가 질문 이해한 게 맞나요? Am I clear?
그건 아니고요.
예.
제 두 번째 질문은
예.
저희 이번에 진행하는 반코 토큰에 대한 ICO가 있는데 1시간 동안은 이제 ICO가 종료되지 않고 계속해서 받아주거든요. 노시스나 배트처럼 고래들이 이렇게 그냥 독식하는 걸 막기 위해서 하는데 그 토큰의 총 발행량에 대해서는 딱히 안내가 없어가지고 이게 그 토큰의 발행량이 무제한으로서 모든 것들이 이제 토큰이 발행이 되는지 아니면 토큰 발행량이 정해져 있어가지고 1시간 동안에 들어오는 걸 비율로 이렇게 참여가 되는지 그런 부분이 궁금했었죠.
And so go ahead.
So to the first question, I think the best way to understand the Bancor protocol is through the concept of smart token, which is a smart token is money that can use money, which is something you cannot do before smart contracts. So only now you can do that. It's money that use money. And because you have that concept of money that can use money, which means that you can buy the currency from its own smart contract, so you can say that the currency has its own market maker. Bancor protocol is about tokens that they are their own market maker. And when you create that, and when you allow every smart token to hold not just one reserve, but multiple reserves of different tokens, then the smart tokens can become some kind of a hub that connects existing currencies to each other, because every token can be a reserve token. It can be even a tokenized asset like gold and dollars and what have you. So because of the way that smart token works, that allow you always to buy and always to sell without having to be matchmade, so people compare it to a decentralized exchange. But it's not exactly a new type of exchange, because again, there is no need to do an exchange. There's only change. It's like going to the change in the store. You can always do that. you don't need to be matched with another buyer and seller. There is no bid and ask. There's just a price, and the price moves. So I like to say that Bancor is not a new type of exchange. Bancor allows creation of new type of currencies that don't need an exchange. And not only they don't need an exchange, but you can existing currencies that already pre-existing before Bancor protocol can leverage Bancor protocol in order not to have to use exchanges themselves. So the whole model of bid and ask is something that you don't need with the Bancor protocol. Now it takes some time. I know it took me some time to get used to the idea. Just like it's hard to explain what Bitcoin is. Just like to someone that knows a lot about the internet, but it's hard to explain what Bitcoin is. And if someone knows a lot about Bitcoin, it's hard to explain what Ethereum is, because it takes some time to wrap your mind around it. But this is what it is. It's money that uses money. So the money is taking care of all the conversion and exchanges itself. You don't need to take care of that with traders and market makers and all those people in the exchanges that it's their job. When you want to convert Bitcoin to Ethereum, you go to an exchange and you ask to convert. And there are orders in the exchange, and because of those orders, you can convert Bitcoin to Ethereum. Who puts those orders? There's other people. I never put an order myself. I just click convert, like on Spreadsheet. I have this, give me that. But some people, they put those orders because that's their job. This is the traders. And they provide the liquidity, and they make money out of it. And Bancor protocol automates the job that they are doing, and doing the price discovery, and based on the same market demand, the same fundamental, the same principle, but no need to swap those tokens between people. And really, I think it's a good idea to see the videos, to read the white paper. It will get much clearer as you go deep to that. Regarding the crowd sale, the question about the crowd sale. So the reason we did 1 hour where everyone can participate is because the most important thing for us is that the people that researched and learned about Bancor protocol and decided that they want to be part of it and they want to participate in the fundraiser, it's very important for us that they will be able to do so. It's very important for us that they don't need to feel like it's over in 10 seconds or 20 seconds or 30 seconds and they don't have put enough gas or they need to put $5,000 gas. We don't want that. If someone thinks, oh, Bancor, that's a good idea, I like it, I want to be part of it, I want to be part, even if it's $100, but I want to be part of the fundraiser, the most important for us is that everyone get equal opportunity to do so. Now, many people told us, look, you might get much more than your hidden cap, which is what we think we need in order to build really a good solution. But they say to us, you can get much more than that. We have a security cap of 1 million Ether. This is really because we cannot think about handling more than that. But people say, you can get a lot. So we announced yesterday, I don't know if you heard about it or not, but this is a good chance, that if we get anything more than the hidden cap, we're going to put it locked in a smart contract that will allow anyone to sell back the Bancor network token for the initial price, for the price in Ether at the fundraiser. So if we get more than the hidden cap, all this extra will be secured as a floor in case we go below the initial price in Ether. because I know many tokens they could go below the initial price, and you know people who buy those tokens they can lose some money. So what we're doing is we're making sure that every Ethereum, every Ether that we get above the hidden cap will be used in order to secure for the next 2 years that there is a good buying wall that in the initial price. So making sure that people don't, because people were worried that the price will fall below the initial price because we let so many people in, so the price will fall below. So we said, look, we want to let all those people in that come in the first hour. It means that they researched that before. So we want to let all those people in the first hour, we want to let them in. But since you are concerned that the price will fall below the initial price, we will put all this money in the contract that would buy back Bancor tokens for the initial price if you want. So it will never go below.
Last 1 minute.
Okay. That's my answer.
네, 굉장히 답을 길게 중간에 살짝 놓쳤어요. 카톡 얘기하다가 첫 번째 질문에 대한 답을 쉽게 설명해달라고 했는데, 그러니까 익스체인지가 아니고 체인지예요. 그 개념이 뭐냐면, 그러니까 어떤 토큰이 거래되기 위해서는 항상 수요자랑 공급자가 시장에 만나가지고 그러니까 어느 정도 유동성이 필요한 부분인데, 본인들이 가지고 있는 리저브 시스템을 이용하게 되면 수요자랑 공급자가 없이도 토큰이 교환된다는 거죠. 거래소가 아니라 거래된다는 거예요. 그냥 단순히 일단 로직에 의해서. 그래서 마켓 메이커가, 그러니까 시장 참여자가 사려는 사람과 팔리는 사람이 존재하는, 시장이 존재하는 게 아니라 이 리저브 시스템이 있어가지고 이 리저브 시스템 안에서 사려는 사람과 팔리는 사람 없이 단순히 교환하려는 사람만 존재하는 특정 비율로 그런 식의 개념을 설명을 했는데, 이게 쉽지는 않을 거다, 굉장히 트리키할 거다라고 얘기를 했고, 백사도 나와 있고 이쪽 팀이 제공하는 엑셀 파일도 그 해당 비율이나 이런 부분들이 이제 로직들을 제공하고 있어요. 그래서 그런 부분을 읽어보시고 천천히 이제 해석해 보시고 하면서 이해하시는 게 나을 것 같습니다. 이 사람이 얘기를 한 게 비트코인이나 이더리움도 처음엔 개념이 굉장히 낯설지 않았느냐, 그렇지만 지금 받아들이고 있듯이 우리 컨셉도 언젠간 받아들여질 것이다. 이렇게 첫 번째 질문에 대답을 했고, 두 번째는 좀 굉장히 긴데요. 두 번째는 좀 따로 정리를 하도록 하겠습니다. 다 놓쳐서 좀 놓쳐가지고 좀 나중에 지금 영상이 다 남아 있잖아요. 레코드 되고 있으니까 따로 정리를 해서 올려드리도록 하겠습니다. 그러면 여기서 좀 질문을 마치고요. 시간이 좀 늦어져서 한 5분 정도 휴식 시간을 가지고 그리고 다음 그 세션을 시작하도록 하겠습니다. So, it's the end of your presentation and the Q&A time. Thank you for your presence today. And you can say hello.
Thank you.
You can say hello to your Korean Ethereum enthusiast.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. I'll connect you later.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
하겠습니다. Please everyone be seated. 앞쪽에 빈자리가 있으니까 앞쪽으로 땡겨와 주시면 좋을 것 같아요. 훨씬 더 잘 보이고 직접적으로 커뮤니케이션 하는 게 좋으니까. We're gonna start in a minute, and please everyone be seated.
이거 더 얘기하면 안 될 것 같아. 아까 최고 많이 되는 최고 많을 때 얘기 안 하고. 한 10명 돼요? 아니. 40? 생각을 다 하시는
프로프 프레젠테이션 시작하도록 하겠습니다. Please go ahead.
So I'll just kind of like nod at you where there's like a big pause. Yeah, you can say that. Here's this mic.
안녕하세요. 저는 다입니다. And that's it. I apologize. 한국어 좀 못해요. So I will be using English for this entire presentation, but I will try to speak clearly. My name is Tai Kersten. I am the CTO of a Korean company here called Proof Incorporated. We also work in the token space, issuing ERC-20 tokens backed by real assets. Right now, if I'm going to sum up everything we do in one word, it's empowerment. We want to make blockchains accessible to people, not just blockchains, but the industries that blockchains are seeking to enrich and disrupt going forward. So, first I want to introduce our team. That big pudgy guy there is me. Next is our CEO, Mike. Raise your hand, Mike. He is our fearless leader, and he's a total pain in the butt. Also, we have David Van Ijzerker, who is an amazing front-end programmer who helps us build our UI UX, and also spends a lot of time getting very frustrated with me. And then there's Joseph Yu. As I go through this presentation, in the back of your head, you will have many questions about how is this legal, how does this work, what's the compliance end. Joe leads our compliance and legal team, and makes sure everything we do is on the level, and that we stay within the bounds of everything. We also have a group of advisors that I'd like to shout out to, including Tobias, how's it going, man? But also groups of people who help us with regionalization with every market that we work in. So, in summary, what we do involves taking a real asset, fractionalizing or tokenizing it, allowing people to purchase that token on our platform in an open marketplace, and then peer-to-peer trade it. And all of the tokens we create, similar to the presentation you heard earlier, are ERC-20 compliant tokens, thank you ConsenSys. And that means that they can be taken to other exchanges and then moved around. It also allows people to go and move the tokens onto their own Ethereum wallet and then move them back and forth. I know this is an Ethereum meetup, but we also support the Open Assets Protocol on Bitcoin, working on some counterparty stuff as well, and also have our own blockchain that we use, which is also an Ethereum fork, which I'll go into detail about. So for this talk, I'm going to go kind of a little bit into the business and our core operations and what we do and what the value that we bring is. But then I also want to go through an entire transaction. Since this is an Ethereum meetup, I want to talk about some of the back-end stuff. So we'll get a little bit technical, But during the Q&A, if you need me to clarify anything, I am totally down to answer any kind of questions at the implementation or technological level. So today, between ConsenSys and Bancor, we talked a lot about applications, and we talked a lot about how we can look at sort of tokens and how they enrich different businesses. This is an example of one of those businesses. We are a blockchain platform, and we are also a blockchain business. That is fundamental to all of our operations is the blockchain and is Ethereum. Everything I show you today is talks to a blockchain and is also live right now. So if you go to our website, you can actually go and participate in the systems that we're talking about. So first, I want to go through just very basic, our architecture. This is kind of, I think, be very familiar to anybody who works in a startup or anybody who has done any kind of technology involving the blockchain. We have a dashboard, which is the first thing that the user sees. In fact, is the only thing that the user sees. We also have a front API, which is also a publicly accessible API. We want to help developers build on top of our platform. And a file upload console. It's creating an entire suite of services, which uses a storage, sharding, decentralized storage site and API. And then we have our backend API, a support database that syncs up with the blockchains, which is actually the secret sauce of this whole thing. We have the ability to sync up both with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Proof, although we tend to always push for, as much as we can, people to use the ERC20 standard, and that gets us into the next part. So why do we use Ethereum, and why do we favor Ethereum when we talk to them? Oh. So, Ethereum ERC20 is a very cool development within the place that is the blockchain. One of the things that allows us to do is have a standard of some sort, which is, for anybody who's working in this space, understands how important standardization is going to be moving forward. And the ERC20 is an excellent example of that. And that's one of the benefits of Ethereum. Not just that, but having smart contracts that are built into the fabric itself is pretty neat, as well as a Turing-complete language that allows us to create customizable contracts that do more than just tokens. And I'll be talking about that later. Now, here, right now, is the marketplace that exists in Proof. So I'm going to do a quick rundown about sort of the operations of the business and the startup itself. You can see right now that we offer 4 different properties on our platform. Right now, we are concentrating on real estate, but we are currently have architectures start moving into other areas, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But for now, you can see this is a very basic rundown. You have the name, a picture, which account issued it, and then the price per token. When you access one of these, you are then given access to a bigger summary, which includes the description of the property. It also includes a contact information for the seller of the token, as well as the ability for you to purchase the token, but also, if you, after purchasing a token, if you would like to get liquidity, that big L word that got repeated a lot earlier, you can actually place your token back on the open marketplace. So rather than allowing, creating a price algorithm, which will decide what the price is based off of the characteristics of the market, we're going to allow people's trading and their sense of perception of the value to dictate what the price of the token is. Now, every one of these properties is its own smart contract. Whenever somebody issues an asset on our platform, we create a custom smart contract for that asset. Not just that, we allow people to also gain dividends. So on our platform, if you buy a token from one of these properties, you will have the benefit of an event dividend or money that comes to you in a fractionalized way from a sales event. And the initial pricing of the token is based off the initial valuation of the property. Now that's a lot of words, but the main point of this is that we believe that the valuation of the token should be rooted in something. And in this case, it's a real asset. That said, this right here is simply just a flywheel for our business. We are looking right now to begin developing systems that allow us to tokenize more than just real estate. We want to allow people to tokenize things such as financial assets. We want people to also be able to tokenize things such as their car, or to develop their own cryptocurrency, and then move it on to other exchanges. So we will be continuing to enrich this environment and this ecosystem as much as we possibly can by empowering people to create their own tokens backed by actual assets. Now, Just a quick word about compliance. You can raise your hand later and I'll answer Q&A more about that later. I'm going to focus more on the technology end. Every one of these is also backed by a contract. And I'll have some exciting announcements about that later. And so here's an example. So when you click on a property, you can see here that you'll enter in some details. Your name, the name of the property, where it's located, the valuation, the amount that you want to put on the blockchain, these kinds of details. From that, we create a custom smart contract, in this case an ERC token contract, that allows you to then have a customized contract as well as a hash of the legal contract as well, so they're irrevocably tied together on the blockchain. This issues the tokens either on the Ethereum, in this case this is a Solidity contract, which is one of the development languages for Ethereum. And after doing so, your tokens will be issued on the blockchain and are then ready for movement and for any sort of sale. On our platform as well is a wallet functionality. So every user account is represented by an Ethereum wallet. This Ethereum wallet allows you to place any amount of tokens on it based on the contract that has been issued alongside your asset. One of the things this allows us to have on our platform as well is an exchange. So we give you immediate fungibility between Ethereum and Bitcoin and USD. So you can purchase Ethereum on our platform using dollars and then come in and start buying these tokens immediately. I would like to once again emphasize this is live right now. Go check it out. I'll give you the URL at the end of this. So here's an example. This is a little test I did. I called it token test because I'm very creative. Here you can see that I first issued, I received 10,000 tokens. You can see the from address, the to address. In this case, from the issuing wallet, the master wallet, to myself. Then it gave me control of the contract. And then I sent 5,000 of these from one wallet to another wallet. So what's happening here on the back end is essentially my account, my Ethereum account, is speaking to the contract on the blockchain. And that contract, during the state change of the Ethereum blockchain, is then sending those 5,000 tokens and recording it immutably on the blockchain. And here you can see on our platform, we give you all the information you need. Now, one thing I didn't show is for the wallets, you can also see your private key and you have full access to all of your accounts. So let's say you issue tokens on our platform and want to move all of them over to a different exchange, you can do that. If you want to simply use this as a wallet, you can do that as well. I'm excited to announce as well, we have a mobile app coming out that will allow you to have both a token wallet and an Ethereum Bitcoin wallet, and it's going to be really, really cool. So, tied to everything on our platform, you can also view the transaction hash. Now, I want to take a quick aside and discuss with you our sidechain. We deployed our own Ethereum chain on a different network level. This allows us to have custom test network. It also allows us to use it as a means of recordation. It also gives us the capability to give people this service for free. So when you issue an asset on our platform, if you choose to use our sidechain or our Ethereum fork, you can actually issue for free. All the coins that we mine in there are merely utility coins, and we give them away because we're stupid. And so we give away our coins, and then you can, through airdrops, and you can simply just move assets back and forth, issue as many tokens as you want, and use it essentially as a testnet. Or, if you want, you can also use it as your database to actually create transactions on the marketplace. So you can choose between either the Ethereum, the core Ethereum chain, the one that everyone knows and loves, or you can use our sidechain. It's actually not a sidechain, it's more of just an Ethereum fork. So at every asset, every creation, every purchase, every transfer, every upload, we send information to the blockchain. The blockchain record dates it, and or issues the tokens. We can also put smart contracts on here as well. And then it gets sent, if it gets sent to the proof sidechain, then it simply just loops around, records itself, and sends back to the front end. Or it'll go from our chain as the recordation system and head over to the Ethereum chain, which will then pass through all the information that we need, including the transaction hash that will be wrapped up on our chain, and then you'll see it on the dashboard. Now, one of the things that this allows us to do is allows anybody who wants to interact with blockchain. We see this as an excellent way and an excellent teaching mechanism. So that if you're interested in using Ethereum, but you don't want to necessarily make the $200, $400, $500 investment required to make all the thousands of different contracts you want to test, you can do that on our platform for free. And more exciting news on that later. I have something very cool to show you guys in a second. Now after we've created that transaction, you can go on our sidechain and you can go to our block explorer and see the actual balance of your tokens. So you see, earlier we had 5,000 tokens sent, and you can see the transfer from one wallet to another through the tokens on the sidechain. One of the things, so as we move forward, is we're part of an application community. There are a lot of people developing on Ethereum, and it's incredibly important that we all work together. And so one of the most important things that's going to happen in Ethereum going forward is the new Serenity developments, right? So anybody here kind of looked into the proof of stake Casper changes that are going to occur in the EIP 101? Yeah, so there's going to be some big changes. And that includes a modular consensus mechanism. That's also going to include a movement, or theoretically movement to proof of stake, or possibly maintaining proof of work and then having mixed blocks, which is going to be real fun to watch. Likewise, we've taken the Ethereum logo and put it over the Tenor. We've been investigating things like Ethermint. We've been looking at the Honey Badger BFT, Byzantine fault tolerance algorithm, and kind of planning ahead. And right now, we're also looking at how do we turn our contracts, the contracts we use and let people legislate, into Casper-proof contracts. How can, as the changes that happen with Ethereum going forward, how do we make it so we can actually maintain an application platform with the level of stability and accessibility necessary? That's a really important question I think all application developers need to consider. Anybody here work at a startup? Yeah, so anybody who's developing on these chains, it's really important I think to be reminded occasionally that this technology is incredibly young, which is why platforms such as INFURA are awesome. That's why platforms that allow us and enable people to do as much as they possibly can on the chain, and then also change and have some level of flexibility with that as little cost as possible, is essential for the continuation and the development of the blockchain space. That's both on the developer end and on the usability end. So, as proof moves forward, we're excited to say that we're not just going to be issuing tokens. Although we really appreciate and use a lot of the ERC20 tokens, we see there's a lot more growth that can happen in the smart contract space. That includes the ability to create smart contracts that create your own DAOs and then link them together, or create meta coins that issue other coins so you can continue to reissue, and do this in an entirely augmented and decentralized way. That said, Proof will, as we move forward, Proof is going to be announcing its own ICO in the future, backed by our platform, as well as our marketplace. Likewise, we are very excited to continue to work in this space, both with Ethereum developers and with any application developers. So with that, I'd like to announce that in the spirit of trying to make this stuff as easy as possible to use, our team has just released, I think as of yesterday, an Ethereum contract deployer. So rather than having to, anybody here actually deploy a smart contract? All right, it's kind of a pain. So even if you're going through the Geth console or the parity console, you have to line up a bunch of the ABI and put the contract address in and then try to get the right amount, and oftentimes you get the wrong calls, and oftentimes the contract is poorly written or it's been frozen by something, and it's all sorts of chaos. This right here makes it so deploying a contract either on the Ethereum chain or our Proof blockchain is incredibly easy, because like I said, the one driving theme of our company is empowerment. We want to allow people and developers to quickly develop, quickly build, as well as use our own platform to create tokens and also to create really cool smart contracts to make Ethereum the best possible it can be. Now, if you're interested in looking at our dashboard, which is our core product, check out beta.proofdashboard.com. And more importantly, Proof is about community. Like I said, it's about empowerment. So we invite you to join us on our Slack at slack.proofsuite.com. Come check it out. We have a community, I think about 170 people now. And they're in constant conflict, having great conversations, yelling at each other, debating. I think we have some people from this room actually in there. We have exciting people coming from both the finance end of things, the technology end. We're actually crowdsourcing mobile development there. So our entire platform is about community. So everything we do is driven by and is also informed by our community. So I recommend and I invite everybody here to check out these two websites. If you have a phone, take a picture of these URLs, and I would love to see you on there. If you have any questions for myself, for David, for Mike, for Luke, who's one of our esteemed community managers, and for Jason, who's responsible for so many things, including this T-shirt. Yeah. First two questions for T-shirts. You can come talk to us, and we're always open. And we're also here in Korea. So if you want to set up a meeting, you want to get some coffee, you want to yell at us, you want to criticize us, or if you want to sit down and just give us compliments, we're always down to get compliments. You can come see us, and we'll meet with you, and we're all about meeting people and trying to make sure that this blockchain community is exactly that, a community. Thank you very much. I'm going to open up for questions. I think I'm a little bit fast there, but it's late.
예. 프로프에 질문 있으신 분은 질문해 주시면 될 것 같습니다. 예. 본인 소개해 주시고 질문해 주시면 됩니다. 해도 한 번 더 해주세요. 여기 이쪽으로.
네, 안녕하세요. 블록체인하고 DM 스터디 좀 하고 있는데요. 수능 난설명하고요. 아까 프루프가 사이드 체인이라고 하셨다니까. 그러면 프루프만의 블록체인을 따로 가지고 계시는 건가요?
You mentioned the side chains, and it means that you have your own blockchain networks in your services.
Yes. We have our own blockchain network that you can create transactions and issue smart contracts entirely for free right now. It's a proof of work based chain forked from Ethereum, and basically allows us to be able to offer our services at a reduced cost to the customer, and that cost them, of course, zero because we cover all of the coin. Able to do kind of basically a testnet, but also a testnet that we use as a utility as well.
이더리움을 하드포크 해가지고 본인들만의 그 폐쇄형 블록체인을 가지고 있다고 연동된 서비스가 있다고 그렇게 얘기를 합니다. 장점은 수수료를 안 낸다는 거예요.
노드 개수나 해시레이트는
How many of your nodes in your own your hard-forked Ethereum network, and how much of your hash powers that gathers in your network?
Oh man, I was just looking at the hash power numbers. I don't remember the exact number, Sean, but when I have an opportunity, I'll send them over to you in an email because I still have your contact information. But right now, I think we have about 12 nodes running. We have 2 of them are ours, and then 10 are community members who are interested in our platform and kind of believe in what we're doing. We invite you to come in Slack if you want to deploy one. We would be absolutely just enamored by that. Likewise, as we move into doing an ICO, there will be an incentives structure that we'll set up.
한 20개 정도 되고요. 2개는 본인 팀이 직접 운영하는 거고, 나머지는 이제 슬랙에 참여하는 커뮤니티 멤버들이 하는 거고, 언제든지 참여해서 뭐 이제 노드를 러닝 시킬 수 있다고 이렇게 대답을 했습니다. And any questions? 제가 일단 질문이 하나 있는데요. I have one question. 그 부동산이라는 게 지금 are you focusing on a domestic market or a global market?
Global market. We specifically have 6 target areas in mind, and then we're kind of moving on.
그러면 질문이 있는데 지금 제가 든 생각은 부동산 시장이라는 게 사실은 제가 보기엔 기술적인 문제가 어렵다기보다는 법적인 이슈들이 문제일 것 같아요. 각각 국가마다 그들만의 어떤 법적 시스템이나 환경이 굉장히 상이할 텐데 이걸 어떻게 극복해 나갈 예정인지에 대해서 질문을 하겠습니다. And when it comes to the real estate market, I think your major challenge is not technical, but about legal issues. So what is your plan to overcome the diverse environment?
That's really interesting because I think at some point, especially with the kind of ICOs blowing up, we all take a very cavalier attitude towards what this stuff means and does. But moving forward, what the compliance world looks like is going to come real fast at us, especially as a blockchain community. So we see real estate merely as a test case. It's how we're going to start building our relationships with our legal partners and our compliance people to help us continue to develop exactly what they should look like. Because moving forward, it's not that it's easier to issue tokens and therefore we can do that under the radar. Eventually, we're going to have to start answering some real questions in certain markets. And already we're starting to see some of this information and some of this attention coming to people. So right now, it's not a question of, right, this seems like a really big hurdle to do real estate, is that right now we're testing the grounds and building the frameworks legally alongside, the greats like Gilead, Piper, and Monax to try to figure out exactly what does this space look like? What are these things? Let's define this, because it's far too cavalier right now to sit there and say, well, this is this thing that's an old type of financial property. It's a different kind of asset. It behaves differently, it looks different, and then the ways that you can use cryptocurrency as a movable, fungible asset is kind of strange. And so we're trying to pioneer that space.
So the real estate market is just your test bed of your service.
Just our test bed. We also think that we did a lot of research. Proof actually started out as a research group. Real estate is a incredibly interesting industry, as well as an industry that already lends itself really well to having a solid asset that has a valuation, and then a fractionalized model already exists for real estate. So we can create piggyback on some of that in order to help educate people and build out our system. On top of that, we see real estate as an excellent investment for people.
So do you have any plans to
oh yeah, thanks Mike. I forgot. Really cool announcement. Is that live? That's live. That's awesome. All right, sorry. Our Mike over here just deployed a legal contract generator. So we've collected a bunch of boilerplate from all over the place, and then after you fill out a questionnaire based on the token you want to deploy, and you can it will generate a legal contract for you. Now, we're not legal professionals. We're programmers. But it gives you the framework to take it to your legal professionals if you want to have a compliance end. And then when you issue your own asset, it allows you then to hash it and place it alongside your asset on our platform, or any platform for that matter, and with some level of legal framework surrounding it. And one of the benefits of that as well is going to be the idea that you can, if you go to a lawyer right now and you say, I'm going to explain to you blockchain, they're going to fall asleep, or they're just going to charge you a bunch to have you educate them and then go have to read a white paper anyway. In this case, you can bring them an actual piece of legal writing that has been put together by our team of compliance and legal people that gives them a framework of understanding exactly what this thing is, allowing a greater level of compliance with the asset integration.
질문이 드렸는데요. 그 리걸 이슈를 처리할 수 있는 스마트 컨트랙트를 지금 프레임워크를 지금 준비를 하고 있대요. 그래서 그게 지금 방금 디플로이 됐다고 해서 저희 굉장히 기뻐하는 장면이었고요. 그다음에 또 더 추가적인 또 질문이 있으신가요?
아이디어 자체
본인 소개해 주시고 질문을 해주시고.
저는 그냥 개인이고요. 질문은 뭐냐면 그 아이디어 자체는 칼라드 코인하고 되게 비슷한 것 같아요. 어셋을 나누는 건데 듣다 보니까 중간에 그 프루프만의 온 블록체인을 또 유지하잖아요. 그게 갖는 또 특성이 따로 있는 건지 아니면은 이렇게 사람들이 이렇게 좀 아까 말한 리걸 컨트랙트랑 칼라드 코인을 좀 발행하기 쉽게 하기 위해서 하는 건지, 그러니까 타깃이 좀 애매하거든요. 그러니까 리걸 어때 쪽으로 하는 건지 아니면 어떤 좀 특성화된 펑션이 있는 그런 블록체인을 개발하려고 하는 건지, 어느 쪽에 더 타겟팅이 두고 있는지.
그러니까 제가 이해하는 질문이 맞으면 그 칼라드 코인이랑 비슷한 컨셉인데.
네, 그러니까 그거 보고 이제 그게 사람들이 하기가 어려우니까 그러니까 리걸 컨트랙트를 대행해서 하려고 하는 건지, 거기에 포커스를 두는 건지, 아니면 자기들만의 블록체인을 만든다고 하니까 그거를 하려고 하는 건지, 그 컨셉적으로 방향이 어떤 게 있는 건지.
He asks you about the relationship between your legal contracts and networks, and what he asks you that it's a little ambiguous that you are concentrating on a legal contract, or you are trying to build your own network like an Ethereum. He asks about what you are purchasing and what you're trying to do ultimately.
Right now, like I said, ultimately we're looking at empowering the space. Blockchain is very young, and so that includes every app developer right now is ultimately also a research project. That's I think we should be honest about that. Everybody here, we're running on an incredibly young technology, and so it might look unfocused, but ultimately, in fact, I would love to come back to the Ethereum community and kind of give a tutorial on how to launch your own Ethereum fork. It's actually really simple, it's really cool, and lets you do all sorts of neat testnet stuff, both at the get and very anyway. So it's a very young space, and we don't see them as different things. So the ability to have a blockchain to actually start testing this stuff on for us to do it cheaply is incredibly important. So think of it more in terms of our own sidechain, our own Ethereum fork is merely a way for us to begin testing our theories about taking those contracts and moving them in. So they are entirely interconnected.
일단 본인들만의 그들만의 이 팀만의 블록체인을 만드는 것이랑 지금 퍼블릭 블록체인이 굉장히 능성하고 있는데 이쪽에 이제 양쪽이 존재하는 게 서로 이렇게 컨트랙트, 그러니까 서로 다투는 거라고 생각을 하지 않는다고 얘기를 하고요. 그 다음에 지금 산업이 굉장히 영하기 때문에 굉장히 얼리 스테이지에 있기 때문에 여러 가지 테스트를 해볼 수 있는데 본인들의 컨셉트를 프라이빗 블록체인에서 테스트하기가 좀 좋은 환경이라고 얘기를 했어요. 그래서 나중에는 이것들이 상호보완적인 방향으로 발전하지 않을까 이런 취지의 답변을 했습니다. So, any questions about? Sure.
Thank you for your time. Yes. Thanks.
저희 미덕을 지원해 주시는 여러 서포터 분들이 계세요. 저희 후원 개인 분들이신 분도 계시고 업체에서 오신 분들도 계신데 좀 간단히 소개를 드리고 그 다음에 저희 뒷부 미덕장소 안내하도록 하겠습니다.
예, 안녕하세요. 저는 이준이라고 하고요. 노매드라고 또 지금 후원사분들 좀 소개를 부탁드릴게요. 지금 광주전자 유통 주식회사 광주전자 유통에서 골드 후원사 스폰서로 후원해주고 계시고 자세한 내용은 사실 저희 미더 홈페이지에 가시면 클릭하시면은 자세한 내용이나 이제 내용을 소개받으실 수 있고요. 그다음 주식회사 노노스라고 하는 이제 최고의 회사가 있으시고요. 이번에 추가로 된 골드 스폰서가 있는데 이제 빗썸에서 저희를 후원을 해주시기로 하셨어요. 그렇게 후원해주시고 오늘 이제 앞에서 받으셨는지 모르겠지만 보조 배터리, 네, 샤오미 보조 배터리를 또 지원을 해주시고 앞으로 좀 계속해서 후원을 해주실 생각이라고 입장을 밝혀주셨고요. 그리고 코인플러그라고 핀테크 회사긴 한데 이번에 이더리움, 엔터프라이즈 이더리움 얼라이언스에 들어간 이제 스타트업 회사거든요. 국내에서는 삼성 SDS랑 코인플러그가 유일하게 EEA에 합류를 하게 됐어요. 그래서 여기서도 단순히 후원뿐만 아니라 나중에 기회가 된다면 개발자 네트워크를 좀 도움을 줄 수 있는 부분들을 도움을 주겠다고 밝혀서 이더리움 쪽으로 좀 스타트업을 생각하고 계신 분들은 그런 쪽으로도 좀 얘기를 많이 해보실 수 있을 것 같아요. 좀 단순하게 좀 더 구체적으로 얘기를 드리면 지금 편의점 가시면은 편의점 ATM기에 지금 비트코인을 구매하고 현금을 바꿀 수 있는 그런 시스템이 있거든요. 이제 그걸 도입한 회사가 이 코인플러그거든요. 그래서 그 부분 좀 파악해 보시면 좋겠고 특허를 좀 많이 내려고 해요. 그리고 이제 마이닝풀 허브에서도 저희를 후원해 주시고 지금 몇 번째 후원을 해주시고 계시고요. 그리고 야피존도 이제 저번에 스폰서로 하면서 저희가 2달 유지 기간이 있기 때문에 이번까지 유지를 해주시고 계시고 땡글에서 사람들이 모여서 거래소를 만든 거고요. 그리고 마지막으로 이거는 개인분들이 직접 이제 트레이더분들이 그래도 이더리움 개발자나 이더리움 환경이 발전했으면 한다고 해서 개인적으로 후원을 주신 분들이세요. 그냥 간단하게 아이디로 설명을 드리면 뭐 파브르라고 하시더라고요. 파브르라고 하신 분이고 뭐 앞에 벌레가 보이죠? 파브르라고 하셨고 그리고 나빌레라님 그리고 알스타, 그리고 카톡의 0번 방이라고 소위 불리는 그런 방이 있는데 뭐 소문으로는 뭐 이더리움 10,000개 이상이 있어야 들어갈 수 있다 뭐 그런 식의 소문이 돌고 있다고 하는데 근데 그 방에서도 추가로 후원을 해주셔서 지금 저희가 미덕을 이렇게 좀 많은 분들을 초대해서 할 수 있게 됐습니다. 그리고 저희가 이제 뒤풀이 공지를 드리는데 지금 저희가 여기 있는 거고요. 저희가 여기 있고 나가서 이제 오른쪽으로 나가시면 이쪽으로 해서 이쪽에 치킨집이 하나 있으세요. 예, 쭉 큰 길 따라가시다가 갑자기 중간에 큰 골목이 하나 나오면 그쪽으로 들어가시면은 치킨집이 있는데 누나 홀닭이라고 하는 치킨집이에요. 예, 그쪽으로 오시면 되고 들어오실 때 참가비 10,000원을 받으니까 현금으로 준비해 주시면 좋을 것 같습니다. 예, 오늘 저희가 준비한 시간 다 이제 마무리가 됐고요. 저희가 예, 그리고 아까 잠깐만요. 여기 보셨듯이 개인이든 이제 단체든 언제든 저희는 후원을 받고 있는데요. 최대한 이더로 보내주시면 저희가 그 후원금이 저절로 수익을 창출해서 저희의 이제 후원금이 계속해서 늘어나는 현상이 생겨요. 그러니까 웬만하면 저희한테 이더로 보내주시면 저희가 예, 앞으로 더 좋은 일에 쓰도록 하겠습니다. 예, 저는 그 코오나이저 이준이라고 하고요. 이제 마무리 드리면서 인사드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.